maybe in a few years, maybe 10 years, maybe 5 years, I don't know, but eventually things might settle down about Kevin Spacey, and there might be some slightly different climate. I don't think that you guys should hide or not reveal, not let people see his performance also. It'd be
right. Well spotted, by the way. But when I worked with Kevin, I got on very well, and he did a great job. Quite a different performance, because remember, Kevin would be entirely covered with probably as good makeup as you'll ever see, apart from Churchill this year. I think is very good. It's about that level. You know, makeup today is can be superb or dreadful. And I think Churchill looks fantastic. Kevin's makeup was great, but it was unrecognizable except for what's underneath. And so I would describe his performances colder. With, you know, Chris, he's got this inordinately handsome, ageless face, where a smile is charming, and a glitter in his eye, where with the same words, somehow he's more lethal. That's how it came down. But I think at some point or other, obviously, clearly, it'll be whatever Kevin did will probably be seen, but not for a while.
Next question.
Alicia.
Back in the back. What was the process like going to Christopher Plummer, and how did you go about choosing him?
You know, I think I was born competitive. When I heard this coming down, there was you know, I always think about, as a film director, if the roof's falling in, I'll say, well, prop it up, or let's move. Immediately, I never pondered about anything, and I learned that way back when, early on. And so when I heard the bad news, I immediately thought about, okay, I'm going to recast this. I can't sit and wait, and the worst thing about it was, it sounds brutal, I never got one call to this day from his representatives or from him. I didn't expect it from him, but I expected from somebody. I had someone up there at the agency to say, gee, that's the way it goes, I'm sorry. Would have made my task a little bit easier, but frankly, within hours I said, right, I'm going to recast this. And I knew exactly who, because funny enough, Chris and he were on the same list 10 months ago. Less, I think, actually. And I was thinking about Chris at the time, but then Kevin, I thought, you know, this is a difficult film in the light of Star Wars coming out 8 days before me. I don't know what that means. It's also Greatest Showman on Earth, plus some other big stuff. But I've got a feeling this is an awfully good movie, right? I know it is. So I've got to push this as hard as I can, because I've got to make hay on Christmas Day to actually get some kind of recognition about this. And so I made a call to the availability of locations first, availability of actors next, because I don't want to have to go to a new location, I have to reshoot everything. And because the film was so I like to just use the word geography. I'm lucky. I think the one great American director that I've always admired dramatically, or again, is Sidney Lumet. Much under discussed, and I watch all of his movies because he could do a location hunt, which is what I do now, and I'd stand in the corner. I'd say, okay, I like the room. Camera's going to go here, here, and there. Next, we move out. 3 months' time, he comes back in there. The camera's going to go there, there, and then it never changes. Now that sounds boring, but he's some bloody good movies. Okay. So I've always taken a page out of his book. That way, I'm saying, okay, I've got same location, know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to line cameras up the way they were, because why do it? It looks pretty good to me. And I will then protect Chris from having to watch Kevin's performance, because I wouldn't show him that. I have to respect Chris as an actor and as an artist. And so he never knew what Kevin did, so that's what's really cool about it. And whoever's in shot at that moment with the new Mr. Getty had to be reshot. But whoever wasn't in the shot, they're also good. Why? Well, I can't improve that. So in that respect, it was a bit of coordination and geometry. With a lot of panic thrown in.
So there's a lot of focus on the recasting, but I'm curious about how
Michelle and Mark and Charlie got involved in the project. What was that?
Well, you call them, say, hello, got a problem, you read that this morning? Yeah, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So I met Chris that night in the Four Seasons Hotel, and he said, I have to read it, dear boy. I said, fine, of course you do. So he read it in the morning and called me and said, I think it's jolly good. I said, fine. And I was already on the way to see Mark Wahlberg, who was actually about to start a movie. And I said, we're going to do this, do you available? He said, all right then. Now said, Michelle was ready to say, I'll go again in a heartbeat. So, and by then I knew the dates would fit. The locations. I had to go back to Lord Salisbury's house and say, please let me in on a Saturday and Sunday, because he owns this dramatically spectacular house in 8,000 acres of just spectacular land, and the house is dramatically historic because that's where Queen Elizabeth I was born. And he showed me her original letters by her hand, one at 18. Do you want to hear this? Yeah. Sorry, sidetrack. But he took me into the vaults to show me in the vaults underneath the house where the cellars were sealed and air-conditioned, but ancient. And he got out boxes with Queen Elizabeth I letters, one of them to the government saying at 18, beautifully penned and beautifully phrased, saying, in denial of the fact that the rumour says that I am pregnant by the Duke of Northumberland, I'm willing to have a medical person examining me to confirm that I'm still a virgin, not pregnant. Fantastic. But Jesus Christ. But so Lord Salisbury, always followed by 5 fluffy dogs. And the aristocracy never washed their dogs, so fucking stank, because if it rained, there's nothing worse than damn dog, right? And but I said, come on, dude, let me in. He said, because I'm a knight, is he? Probably not. So, as one knight to a lord, you have to let me in. I'm serious, I'm a knight. Even with a bad language.
Hello. I just wanted to know if this was the most challenging thing you've ever dealt with as a director. Is it more or less challenging than, say, having Blade Runner recut and having to release that?
Tom Rothman said, yes, it's the most desperately difficult thing I've ever had to do in my life. But actually, nothing was worse than Blade Runner. I was actually fired the week after finished photography, I was fired from Blade Runner. What they got wrong was that the union had struck the year before to say if a director completes 100% of the movie, he cannot be fired. So he was working off the wrong law book, so I looked at him, and I want to use this in the film because the lawyer had a nice blue shirt on, it was January, it was cool in the office, but he was sweating. He had big sweat patches under his arms, and he turned around and looked like a basketball hit in the middle of the back of sweat. So I knew something was up. And he said, you're off the case. And I said, I went straight around the union. And why am I talking about other things? And I've never been so impressed in my life by the DJ who went puce with rage and said, I will close down Hollywood in 12 hours unless he's reinstated. I was reinstated. What was your question? Oh, that was it. But Tom says it was very difficult.
So you're a really good director.
Thanks, dear.
But I wondered if there was a part of you that got a kick out of this extraordinary thing you had to pull off. And
of course.
What did it feel like while you were going through it?
Dude, if you don't enjoy stress, don't do the job. I thrive on stress, and the worst stress for me is having nothing to do at the weekends. So at the weekends I've now found something to do, which I picked up years ago. I now know what to. I never stop because that's life, And so the fact that this came in, I didn't go exactly yippee, but I thought immediately go into battle mode. That's how I direct. I go into battle mode. And I was like, when Clint Eastwood once told me, or an actor very nameless, said to me about Clint, because I worked with the actor and I said, we did a take. I said, that's terrific. He said, good. I said, when I go again, he said, Jesus, you're worse than Clint Eastwood. And he told me that Clint had said to him when he did a film, he did a take, he said, Clint, terrific, let's move on. And he said, don't I get another one? And Clint said, well, if you really must waste everyone else's time. Did he mean that? Of course not. That's meant to be humorous. But you know, you can go on for 50 takes, which is if you go on for 9 to 13 takes, there's something wrong with you, or you need to miscast, or you need to find another job.
Reshooting the scenes with Christopher Plummer, was your approach informed at all by the film you had just completed, or was there anything different you did?
No, but I wanted him to sing for me this song from The Hills Are Alive with the Sound of Music before I do anything. And he did. Now, he's the man. You just got to, you know, when you get a golden oldie like that, and I've worked with Richard Harris. He talked about Richard Harris a lot, very fondly, and oddly enough, Oliver Reed very fondly, and because Ollie died on me in Gladiator. Why I've got all these bloody stories. Anyway, working with him was fantastic, and when I get somebody that golden, I just sit and watch and go, damn, that's pretty good.
I had a couple of questions, actually. You said earlier that you don't ponder projects so much anymore. You don't want to have so much of a gap. I wonder how that thinking has evolved over time, because you used to take a couple of years between movies, and this is your second movie this year?
Yeah, I mean, I nearly did a third because I was offered to, I'm not going to say on what, but I was asked to replace somebody. So I seriously considered thinking, I'll do 3 films this year. But I decided I mustn't do that. So, yeah, when you start off doing movies, I never did a movie till I was 40. When Alien came out, I was 40 years old. 41, nearly 41 actually. But I was inordinately successful as a commercial director. Till I was, honestly, from 27 to 38, I was flying, and I didn't even think about wanting to do a film, because when you're being successful and making money, why would you? It's like a rock and roll band, you know. I just adored every second I was flying and working. But what I didn't realize, that I was becoming so skilled. You know, if I like sport, but I love tennis, and I always imagine that I'm like Roger Federer. He is perfect in that sense. And at 42 years old, got a good shot at Wimbledon this coming year. You know, and so I've got a good shot and probably going for another 10 years. So the thing to do is not ponder, because when I'd done one, it was a good film, won a prize at Cannes, did no box office whatsoever, because Paramount, God bless them, didn't know what to do with it. Had Miramax, dare I say that, been around in those days, it would have known what to do. If you got a prize at Cannes, the clever thing about Harvey and his brother was they knew how to sell low-budget movies. Without question, you've got to give them that. And they didn't exist then. So what I thought had been a good movie had wallowed and then disappeared. 7 prints in the United States. My premiere was along the Classical Theatre on West Wilshire Boulevard, which I still drive past and go, yay. That's my only theatre in the United States. And so the next one, out of the blue, 6 weeks later, a call from a guy called Sandy Lieberson said, listen, they got this script called Alien. I want to read it. And because Sandy had seen my film at Cannes and cleverly or bizarrely put together, put the guy who does a Napoleonic story, two-hander, but pretty big. Anyone seen The Jewels?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a pretty good film. And it's $800,000, dude, by the way. So even then, that's low budget. I thought, well, okay, so I read Alien because I'm very much a designer and had been a very, very good art director before BBC asked me to direct. So I loved designing, and I was very much into Jean Giraud Mobius. Anybody knows that is? Mm-hmm. Mobius. He is the best of all comic strip artists and futurists that I know, and I always stared at his work and admired his work. So when they sent me this Alien, which was about a future spacecraft, I thought, I'm going to make it grubby and grungy, and I'll do a Mobius on it. To that extent, I got Mobius to come and design the costumes. And then I got H.R. Giger to come do the monster. So once I did that, I was flying. But then I pondered too long after that, almost 18 months before I decided to do Blade Runner. And then Blade Runner took 9 months of press, so like 2.5 years to do bloody Blade Runner. And then after that, I was so damaged, I then had planned another, which I thought was a pretty good movie and still runs today, called Legend. And that failed as well, so I thought maybe I should find another job, you know. But all these films, I think they were just early. Blade Runner was 30 years too early. Disney now live off films like Legend. I mean, they don't do that, that's not quite right. But they do live action cartoons, because all I was doing was doing a live action cartoon. Because I was the biggest fan. I would walk down Oxford Street at Christmas time to see Fantasia was on, or Snow White, and I'd look left and look right and sneak in like I was going into a sex cinema. And I'd sit there in this room with maybe 3 or 4 people, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and watch the cartoons.
All right, we have time for one more question.
I just want to say that what you did with recasting the film is one of the ballsiest things I've ever seen anybody do in Hollywood. I think it's like a town full of people who are really afraid, and you did.
You're right.
And it's amazing.
Why are they so afraid? Jesus.
Everything, ego, money,
Oh,
it's all
my
there.
God. Yeah, but you can't worry about that. You know.
Yeah, I guess not.
You can only worry about what you have to do. Sorry.
Well, you went forward. This movie to me resonated so much right now because it's really, I think about the emptiness of having so much. And we have a president right now who has this kind of wealth, almost, not quite, but he would like it.
Yeah.
What drew you to the project? I mean, what drew you to this story? Why did you want to make it?
It struck ground. Yeah, it's a good question. It struck ground because there is a void in wealth and there is a void in poverty. And if you're the maker of the wealth, the chances are you're obsessed or possessed, whatever it is, you're on a fast wheel, and you're on probably a courageous wheel or a dangerous wheel to make that much money at the time. John Paul Getty clearly had balls of a goddamn mountain goat. Okay, sorry, it's a very vivid image. The children. With the greatest respect to the Getty family, because I made a film with Balthazar. I made a very nice little film called White Squall years ago. That was Bal Getty, sweetheart. But the family clearly were damaged, and I think they were damaged by maybe the overpowering sense of wealth, where, if you like, you never have to work again. Never having to work again is a void that opens up darkness, and by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you're thinking about having a drink. And then by 6 o'clock, you think about something a bit stronger, and suddenly you have no reason to live or to work, correct? That can happen. I don't say that happens with everyone, because I know children who come from inordinate wealth, who the parent has been really hardcore with bringing the child up, so the children are individuals themselves, and either go into the family business or evolve into their own business. So it's not always that. But there is a void in wealth, because you see a lot of damaged children come out of wealth. And in fact, Getty says, and it's above all things, it's not the divorces, it's the children which produces this awful thing. Poverty is, frankly, way worse. Real abject poverty is much worse, because I'd rather be sat in the back of a Rolls Royce than sat in the back of a dustbin somewhere. But it's the same end result, And once you're past a certain point of nosedive, you may as well, you're one and the same individual. So I thought that was very interesting.